This is Dr. Sumiti Ahuja and I am Assistant Professor from Faculty of Law, University of Delhi. Remedies available for breach of contract. So, remedies also known as relief. Breach of contract we had just discussed in our 8th session about discharge of contract. So, therein we have already discussed in detail about breach of contract, because I can just refresh your memories quickly, because moment we say remedies available for breach of contract, we at least have to briefly understand first what do we mean by breach of contract. We know what remedy is. Remedy means to grant relief. Your legal right has been infringed, you are approaching the court, you approach the court, what for? Because you want a remedy or a relief from the court, because your rights have been affected, they have been injured, they have been infringed, right? Now, breach of contract basically means non-fulfillment of obligation under contract. What do we mean by obligation? So, there are duties, the parties fix duties for each other or responsibilities for each other under the contract. Breach means that one of the parties falters in fulfillment of such an obligation, or you can say falters in completing the promise which has been made under the contract. So, we had also discussed about the two types of breaches, breach of contract, that is an actual breach and anticipatory breach. Before we move on with our session, I will just quickly give a recap of it. Actual breach of contract means when on the due date of the performance of the contract, the party who was to perform the obligation decides not to fulfill the obligation and informs the other party about it, then in that case it is known as actual breach of contract. That means on the due date you decide not to fulfill your obligation under the contract. So, now what do we mean by anticipatory breach of contract? From anticipatory breach of contract we understand that if say for example we enter into a contract today, right, and we have decided that under this contract I would be fulfilling my obligation in the order of performance of the obligations under the contract, I have to perform my obligation first and thereafter you will be in a position to perform your obligation, because that is what the requirement of the Indian Contract Act is. Order of performance has to be maintained, right. So, say we decided under the contract that from 1 month from today we would be performing the obligation under the, I would be performing the obligation under the contract, but say 10 days from today I inform you that see, although under the contract we had decided that I have to fulfill my obligation on such and such date, but today itself I am informing you that I would not be in a position to perform the obligation, right. So, communication is important. And the other party now, the ball is in the court of the other party, that is the other party may choose to either wait till the designated date, till the due date, or the party may choose to terminate the contract there and then. But whatever this affected party decides, he or she will have to inform it to the other party. So, this is what anticipatory breach of contract is, which has been incorporated under section 39 of the Indian Contract Act. Now, let us move back to our session here. Remedies available for breach of contract under the Indian Contract Act, the Specific Relief Act and common law remedy, which I just informed you here, quantum meruit. Various remedies, namely here in this point we are only touching upon the laws which have provided us with these remedies. Now, what are those remedies? Namely has been discussed here. So, you can see damages. Damages is a remedy provided under the Indian Contract Act 1872. Specific performance and injunction remedy, which are provided under Specific Relief Act. Now, see this term ICA stands for Indian Contract Act and SRA is the short form for Specific Relief Act. Please be careful. And the third set of remedy, which I have been repeating again and again since the start of this session, is quantum meruit, common law remedy. So we will be discussing all these remedies and let's see what they are all dealing with.